Being on this 18th day of April in the year of our Lord 2024, I'm Reverend Susan Smith, and you have come to join me on this Thursday morning for a reading from my book, Rest for the Justice Seeking Soul. Although every week I don't read exactly from the book or directly from the book, but I read the meditation that I have written the previous Tuesday because I send those out every single week. But thank you for being here this morning, for getting up early, those of you who have gotten up early. And I just want to ask you, for those of you who have not done it, to go to the Crazy Faith Ministries YouTube page and like and subscribe if you would, because it's going to help us out in doing some of the things that we want to do. Just go to Crazy Faith Ministries, Columbus, Ohio, and you'll see us there. If you go there, I would sure love it. Go there and like it and subscribe. That would be a wonderful thing. But good morning, good morning, good morning. And I'm hoping that everybody has had a good week. Um, Hope that you're not getting flooded out. We got kind of flooded out last week in the big rain, and we got another big rain yesterday with hail and all of that. But it's okay. At least it's not cold. I don't like cold weather. I can do the rain. I can handle it, especially if it's a warm rain. But before I do the meditation this morning, I really want people to think about what's going on in this country and why it's important that we understand what's going on, learn what's going on, and then do what we need to do in order to save the democracy. Now, somebody would say to me, well, how come you want to save the democracy? You're a Black woman, and this democracy has not been particularly good to or for Black people, and we all know that. But it is better than the alternative, right? We have we have had rights in this country that other countries have imitated, and our democracy, such as it is, has been such that other countries have copied it, and now we are just like we're just flowing downstream to a gulf of authoritarianism, and it's very scary. And I don't know that people really realize. I don't think that people really realize that this country is still in a war. The coup of January 6th is still going on, and they're trying to do the coup without the violence if necessary. But if they need to do the violence, they'll do the violence, and they have said as much. I was struck by the fact that Governor Chris Sununu said in an interview on Sunday with George Stephanopoulos. I didn't watch it, but I just heard this excerpt. Chris Sununu, who endorsed Nikki Haley for that primary in New Hampshire, has said that if Donald Trump, he's going to vote for Donald Trump no matter what. So George Stephanopoulos probed him, pushed him on it. Said, "Wait a minute, you've already said that you think that he was a key factor in the insurrection. You know about his indictments and all that." And Kristen said, "Yeah, but he said he's the Republican nominee, and so I will have to vote for him. I'm not going to vote for a Democrat." At the end of the interview, George Stephanopoulos said, "So just to sum up, you would support him for president, even if he is convicted in classified documents. You support him for president, even though you believe he contributed to an insurrection. You support him for president, even though you believe he's lying about the last election. You would support him for president, even if he's convicted in the Manhattan case." I just want to say that the answer to those questions is yes, right? And he said, Chris Sununu said, yes, me and 51% of America. I don't know that there's 51% of America that's behind the former president, but there are a lot of people. And it bothers me that in spite of what this guy has done, this former president has done, people don't care about him. People who call themselves Christian, that just really bugs me, because nothing of what he's done is particularly Christian. If you classify or define Christianity as doing what Jesus said, and it's not moral, and it's not patriotic. I mean, they're working to overthrow the government. That's traitorous. That's not patriotism. But it amazes me that so many people are willing to vote for him regardless. Well, the reason why they're doing that is because the Republicans have had a plan for a long time. They want to take over the government. And when I say take over, they want to dismantle all the institutions, Department of Justice, Department of Education, all of it. They just want to dismantle it. And they want a MAGA United States where they call them conservative values. I don't think they're conservative. I think that they are dictator values, where they want to be in total control of all of the people. which means that we lose out. We, the people, lose out. And if you don't believe it, just open your eyes and see what's going on. Women's rights, health care rights are taken away via the repeal of Roe v. Wade. Voting rights are under attack in all of the states. The Supreme Court said that, ruled this week that in 3 states there cannot be peaceful assemblies. What are you talking about? That is in the Constitution. We're supposed to freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of assembly, but they are taking away all of the things that have made this country what it is. I go back to Project 2025. It's a huge document, and I wouldn't want anybody to sit and read the whole thing. Most people would take a year or two to read it, but you can go to that, and it's online. You can go to that and thumb through what it is that's in there. They want total control, and they are saying the quiet parts out loud. Steve Bannon, someone wrote a book about Steve Bannon who said, in essence, that and that what I said, that they're trying to burn it down, meaning this country, the way it has been, they're trying to burn it down. You have a person like Major Flynn, Mike Flynn, who used to be the security advisor for the former president. He wants this to be a Christian nation, Christian being defined in his terms, in the evangelical terms, not in the biblical terms. I mean, it's just crazy. But I don't think most of us, many of us, I don't think enough of us realize what's going on and what's at stake. We may not have a democracy after the election if we don't all vote in massive, massive, massive numbers. And even that is uncertain because they are doing all that they can on the front end to rig the election so that their guy can get in. It's just daunting to me what's going on. It's very troubling. And I need for us to know it. I need for us to know it and talk about it and get people conversing about it and get people fired up to vote, because that's the only weapon that we have right now. Years ago, Nikita Khrushchev, who was the president or leader of Russia, Soviet Union, it was called then, said that we will overtake America. We will take over America or overtake America without firing a single shot. Think about that. That's what he said. Russia has always wanted to take over America, but Russia wants to take over the whole world. That's no big deal in terms of what empires do, because America would like to do the same thing. There are no pristine, pure nations that have not done that. People in power want more power. But it used to be that Russia was our arch enemy because we were two competing world powers. Now Russia is like kind of smirking, I think, as it uses the Republicans and it uses the former president to do its bidding. I I can't stress enough how important this is. If you are interested in having a conversation about Project 2025, just to kind of get an overview, if you would email me at crazyfaith2019 at gmail.com and let me know that you're interested, we will set up a webinar or a Zoom webinar so we can talk about it, so people can become familiar with it. I think it's really vital that we do that. Crazyfaith2019 at gmail.com. Every single person should know what's at stake. And I'm telling you, they say it right off the top in that document that on day 1 of 2025, they want to be in complete control. That's what they're after. So anyway, I just needed to say that. I'm bothered by I'm just bothered by how the former president gets to get away with all of the things he's doing. We're not a nation of laws. There's no such thing as rule of law. When it comes to rich people, rich white men in power, there's no such thing as the rule of law. You can see it. He's just flaunting his arrogance in front of everybody for the world to see and lying on top of it. And it makes me kind of physically sick because we're allowing it. And we have always said that we're such a moral nation. And we are, people say that they're pro-life, but they're not really pro-life. They're pro-some life and pro-fetus, but they're not pro-life. They're not pro-life, because for me, pro-life means all living people, all people, those that are yet to be born and those who are already born and who are in dire need of help. These people want to cut off support, financial support for the least of these. Everybody needs help. Everybody wasn't born with a silver spoon in their mouths. And I'm amazed at how, as they want the tax cuts for the wealthy that the former president gives at our expense, they don't want to spend federal money on things that will help the masses of the people. So with the Key Bridge, for instance, in Baltimore, where President Biden said there will be federal funds allocated immediately to begin the repair of that bridge, which is a vital road for people that live in that area. The Republicans say you can't do that. That's like an overstep. You can't do that. You can't spend federal money to fix the bridge. Really, we've been doing that our whole lives. When other bridges have fallen down, federal funds have been allocated. So I need for us to pay attention. We have so many things that distract us. We have reality TV, which is no good for trying to understand what's going on in the world. We live in a fantasy world. We need to wake up and realize what is going on and how bad it will be for the nation. And if it's a cold for the nation, and it will be triple pneumonia for Black people and brown people and people in other so-called marginalized communities. So I just needed to say that this morning because it's really, really, really bugging me. And I just want us to know. So again, if you are interested in having a conversation about or being in a session, an informational session about Project 2025, email us at crazyfaith2019@gmail.com and we will set that up. So again, that was my rant for the morning. We read from my book, Rest for the Justice Seeking Soul. My backdrop shows the cover of it. If you haven't gotten it, please do. And I send out a meditation every single week to people who are on the distribution list. And again, if you want to be on that distribution list, email me at the same email address, crazyfaith2019@gmail.com. So sometimes, like I said at the top, I read the meditation that I sent out for the week. And this morning, I'm going to read the one I sent out on this past Tuesday. And it's entitled, What Does Grace Look Like? What does grace look like? Or maybe the question should be, what should grace look like when we are under siege from enemies and situations? We really love to talk about the grace given to us by God, and we are grateful for it. But we talk less about the grace we give and we're obligated to give to other people, especially those who get on our nerves and stretch our spirits. In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus tells us to love our enemies and pray for our persecutors. And he reminds us that the sun and the rain shine and fall on everybody, including those whom we do not like, respect, or appreciate. That's just a hard truth. So often we think more highly of ourselves than we ought. And in that way of thinking, we somehow give ourselves a pass from having to show and share grace, as well as be grateful for receiving it. It looks to some others, like we think we have a higher status with God than do they, and they shy away from us rather than navigate toward us. We, in effect, nullify the power of the gifts God has given us by alienating the persons with whom those gifts would best be shared. But we also reveal that we have no idea that the grace we have been given is the grace we must give to other people. Someone observed that the former president, on trial now for just one of the charges of which he has been accused, is sitting in court all alone. No family, not his wife or any of his children are there to support him. He complained about not being allowed to go to his son's high school graduation, but I was reading some stuff. He hasn't gone to the graduations of any of his kids, if what I have read is true. But he's using it because he's trying to make himself the epitome of victim. He wants to make himself the most studied, mistreated person in the world. He's making himself this victim. These people want me in court, and they're infringing on my right, my familial right, my duty as a father to go to the graduation of my son. And then when you read about how he hasn't attended the graduations of any of his other children, I get up and say, boy, bye. But he's sitting in court all alone, no family, not his wife or any of his children are there to support him. And his calls for his supporters to come and support him have not resulted in masses of people staging a protest against what is happening to him. Some might say he's getting what he deserves. He has lived his life loving himself and using other people, and after a while, even those who love or have loved him have gotten weary. He has had no sense of how much he needs God, like all of us do, and the grace God gave even to him. He has not shared it, and thus on this earth, in this time of need, he is not receiving it from other human beings in the way that he wants and needs. Howard Thurman, in his essay, The Subtleties of Pride, in his book, The Inward Journey, talks about the effect of, quote, the prideful attitude, end quote, and what it has on other people. He says that one of the results of that attitude is that people do not wish that person well. They are apt to be glad when he or she fails, and they retain even the good impulse. They refrain from even the good impulse to lend a hand. They support him with an atmosphere of non support, which closes the doors one by one until isolation is precise and effective. End quote. I wonder how many of us are experiencing that kind of isolation because we have not given or shared the grace that God gave to us. How many of us find ourselves in deep valleys that we put ourselves in with our ways of raising ourselves up at the expense of others? How many of us are experiencing the absence of genuine human interaction at a time when we most need it? You know, holding up a Bible or selling it for $59.99 does not endear people to you. Holding up your heart, though, and sharing the grace that is in us does endear people to you. And it draws people to you, even if reluctantly. Giving grace or showing grace toward one who has grievously offended you is an act of faith that is no less miraculous than was the total eclipse that we witnessed a week ago. Showing grace, that power, because the grace we have within us is not us, but it is God in us. It is the very presence and breath of God. It is uncomfortable to share it with those you know care nothing about you or your situation, but it offers us moments of transformation as we see what amazing grace actually looks like. We give it, and God gives us more. Instead of walking away from our difficult assignment of sharing grace, we walk away astounded and amazed at how great is the gift of grace that God has put inside of us all. In these days of such political chaos, where nothing seems stable or safe, we may be called upon by God to share that grace that is within us with somebody that we really don't want to share it with. Not all of us will be able or willing to do it, but for those of us who can get past our personal feelings and lean on the arm of God to give to others what God has given to us, there will be rest. There will be rest for the justice seeking soul. Amen and amen. So that is the reading for today. I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful week between today and next Thursday. I hope that you will go to that page, Crazy Faith Ministries Columbus, Ohio, my YouTube page, and like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. It helps us out. And again, if you want to be on the distribution list to receive a meditation every single Tuesday, I never miss, no matter where I am in the world. I don't miss it. So if you want to be on that list, just drop me an email. People have done that, and our list grows. It keeps growing. So let me know, and I'll make sure that you get on the list on the day I get your email. We will do that. So listen, take good care. Take some time to look up Project 2024, 2025. Uh, Email us if you want to have just a session to talk about what that project is and what it means for us. If you want that, email me at crazyfaith2019@gmail.com. Tell somebody about Thursday morning. Tell somebody about this time, this brief time that we have on every Thursday morning, and hold on to the hand of your sister or your brother, biological or not. Hold on to the hand of the person who's next to you, because you know what? We all need each other. We are not going to get through what we're going through right now, and what is bound to be worse as we go more into the year, the election year. We need each other. We are not going to make it if we stand alone. Take good care. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.